Hey guys, it's Jay. I'm here at the South Street Ballpark in Glace Bay, and I'm here for, I guess, an important reason. You know, a question I've been getting a lot throughout this entire thing is, you know, how will I know when I've gotten there? How will I know when I've reached a goal? And I've been putting a lot of thought into this week because from the outset, I kind of said that if I could get the first 100 pounds out of the way, that I'd commit to this entire thing. That if I could prove to myself I could do that, then, you know, I'd basically proven to myself that I could do this whole thing. And that I could not just shed 100 and still be someone who is incredibly obese at 360 pounds, but that if I could get that 100 out of the way, I'd be able to commit and make this a lifestyle as opposed to simply a challenge. And I'm coming really close to that. You know, after the weigh-in this week, I'm really only about 5 or 6 pounds away from losing my first 100 pounds, which is no small feat at all. But it got me thinking a lot about, you know, what is the goal? So I want to talk about that a little bit this week. You know, for those of you who've been watching how other media have covered this, you know, in everyone I've talked to, the Cape Breton Post and CBC, all the interviews I've done, something I've said from the get-go was that, you know, one of the ways I knew I had lost touch with who I was when I stopped coming to a place like this, when I stopped going to a ball field. I come from a baseball family, I played in Little League, you know, tournaments, I used to do all that sort of thing. And then slowly over the last like 10 years, I got away from all of that. So part of why I'm doing this is that I know that if I can get back to a spot like this and be comfortable, and be a member of a team and know that I can hold my own. Once I get to there, for me, I know that I will have reached really my ultimate goal, because this represents all of the things that I gave up for obesity. This represents all the things that I enjoyed in my life that I put food above, that I put that way of life above. So that's why I'm here, because all of the thinking that I've done over the last week, over what coming up on losing 100 pounds and how I'm going to mark that, and you know, what I actually think of that. Because there's a part of everybody who loses weight, who sets out to lose weight. There's a part of all of us who want to fail. And I didn't get that until I got into this. I didn't get that till after surgery. There's a part of us that wants to fail because it means we can go back to the old comfortable. It means we can go back to the way we were. It validates all of those bad choices that we had been making for so long. And there are moments where it's scary, and where the fact that this goal is approaching and the fact that I am adapting and that I am living this new lifestyle, there are moments when that scares the hell out of me, because who I am today, how I eat, how I choose to spend my time, how I do all of those things, I don't know that I would recognize who I was 3 months ago, you know, and I don't know that I'd recognize who I was 3 years ago. So all of that adds in to why I'm here. I started thinking about all the things I did give up. You know, I was pretty good at protecting corners of my life from this. You know, I lacked being as social as I used to be. I certainly wasn't the butterfly, but I was drawn to radio because you don't have to see me, right? The reason I chose to do to do this by video was not just so that over time we could document the changes in me, but also because it forced me to do something that I'm incredibly uncomfortable with. I hated getting my picture taken for the last number of years. Still not too keen on it, but I'm going in the right direction. So committing to do this on video even was a way for me to continue to push myself, because I knew that if I had to do this, if I had to be taped or photographed or whatever every week, that it would be a motivator. It would be a motivator to do this right. The goal for me isn't a weight. It's not an item of clothing that I can fit into. It's not, you know, getting on an airplane without the expansion belt. It's not even any of the things that I had outlined at the beginning of this whole challenge that were pissing me off about being obese. You know, fixing those is more a symptom of what I want to achieve than actually what I want to achieve. And what I want to achieve is literally to stay on the path I am on for the rest of my life. I want every day to feel incrementally better than the last, because that is the greatest motivator you can have, not just to stay healthy, not just to get healthy, not just to put on the, you know, not just to go to the gym or to make the right choices at the grocery store and at the kitchen table. It's about so much more than that. It is about reclaiming a piece of myself that I had given up on. And now this I want to say specifically to those of you, the people who ask the goal question the most, the people who want to know when I'm going to be happy, like what weight do I have to get down to before I'm going to call this a success? I don't know really when I'm going to call this a success, but I'm going to call it a failure when I go more than one day in a row without feeling like I'm getting better, or at least without feeling like I understand why I didn't get better. It's more about commitment. It's more about staying in touch with why I decided to do this in the first place. This obviously has taken on a life of its own since I launched it. You know, it never occurred to me when we agreed to do this that it could become, you know, it could attract as much interest as it has. And it's been interesting for me to channel all of that interest into motivation, but at the same time to stay true to myself and to know that I'm doing this for me and not for you. You know, if you can get something out of this, then fantastic. But ultimately, what drives me, my goal for success every day, is simply to be better every day. Not just to feel like I used to, because even the guy that I stopped being 10 years ago when I started really down this path, that guy isn't supposed to exist anymore. I don't want to be who I was at 19. He was a fun guy. He had some great times. And I don't want to be him now. I want to head into 30 in July knowing that I am exactly the 30-year-old that I'm supposed to be. I'm not going to be thin by then. I'm not going to be not obese by then. I'm still going to have weight on me. But I'm going to be in this process. I'm going to be losing a little by little each week. I'm going to be feeling better. I'm going to be accomplishing little goals. I'm going to have a life full of non-scale victories. Little things like moving the seat back in the car, adjusting my seat at work, sitting closer to a desk, getting posture back in my life thanks to Laura at Ascendo. You know, there are just so many little things that drive you and that motivate you. So for the people who've been writing me asking about the goal, for the people who've been sharing with me that they've lost that 5 or 10 or 15 pounds and they just, you know, they want to know how it is that I stay as committed to this as I appear to be, I gotta be honest. There are dark moments. There are incredibly dark moments where I regret this entire thing. And the amazing thing is, those aren't fueled by food. I don't sit and stare at a bag of cookies and say, why did I go public? That's not how this works for me. The way it works for me is, I sit in the car at the gym and have a dark moment where I don't think I belong there. I sit in the parking lot at the mall wondering if it's still too soon for me to go in and see if I can fit into clothes that I can buy off the shelf. There are dark moments through this entire thing, and I want to be as honest with you about those as I am about the successes, because I don't want you to feel that when you run into one of these, you're doing those wrong. But those aren't the thoughts that I choose to pay attention to. That's all negative talk. And negative talk's never gotten me anywhere in life. All the successes that I have behind me didn't come about because I would shit on myself. That's not how this worked, right? Everything that I've managed to accomplish in my life, I've accomplished because in moments when no one else believed that I could, I did. I have to have that same commitment now. It sounds selfish. You need to have that same commitment for you too. Whatever the challenge is, whatever the goal is, it's great to have that in your head, but that can't be the reason that you're doing this. You know, getting down to 200 pounds would be awesome, but it's not the reason I'm doing this. Getting down to 200 pounds wasn't even the reason I had weight loss surgery. Got a lot of questions after the video in the gym last week. Again, following up on what we talked about in the video, which was if you had weight loss surgery, what are you doing in a gym? Didn't you take the easy way out? Well, no. At 460 pounds, I felt I didn't have the mobility to control this issue the way other people would. I felt that since my problem was portion control, I didn't feel like moving into a gym, you know, would fix my problem alone. If I worked out in a gym for 2 hours a day, but then went home and ate the same way I was, at the very least, I would just be maintaining a weight of 460 pounds. That's not healthy. That's not changing your life. And that's what this whole thing sets out to do. That's what I'm trying to do in all of this. So again, if you're one of the people who are messaging, if you've lost some weight, if you've got more weight to lose, if you've been sharing your numbers with me, as so many of you have, telling me how many inches you've lost, I love hearing all of that, and I love sharing all of that with you as well. But what I want to ask you this week, if you can send them to me, what are those little victories for you? What are the things that keep you going every day? What are the things that happen in the run of the day, in the run of the week, that other people don't even think of, but that to us, you know, confetti bursts and balloons? What are those little things that you have to get over in order to pull this off? That's what I'd like to hear from you this week. If you can send me a message on Facebook or head on over to eagle1035.com, check out the blog. It's all about goals this week, and share yours with me. And next week, without your name, I'd like to share all of yours with everyone else, because sometimes the part that's missing, when that little dark voice comes in, the part that is missing for us is knowing where to see the victories, not achieving the victories, because we do. We achieve them every day that we wake up and decide that this is how we're going to live our life. See you next week. Give me a year.